welcome this time for an interview about her career, Nomkhitha Kwinana. Like me, she lives in Port Elizabeth. She has her business here. And before we even gonna talk about her career, I asked Nomkhitha, please do wear your traditional outfit. I am sure many of the viewers are not aware what type of traditional attire you are wearing or what it could mean. So I thought, you look beautiful, by the way. It looks very regal to me. And it's definitely not what Nomkhitha wears when she works on site, and I haven't seen you like this. Can you please explain a little bit about, is there a particular meaning to this outfit? Does it have to be complete with all the items? I also don't know all the fine detail about that, so please share.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Yani. This attire that I'm wearing, we call it 𝐷𝐫𝐸𝐽𝐻 in Xhosa. So it's a traditional wear that us as Xhosa women we wear. We wear it when we are celebrating most of the time. Whether we are celebrating, maybe there's a wedding, or there is a housewarming, or there is umgidi. Most of the time we find that in December when we have umgidi, and umgidi is what we call celebration after our boys are coming back from the mountains. So they go there, or they go there when they reach a certain age to the mountains to be taught about manhood. And then once they come back, then we celebrate, and we call that celebration umgidi. And you find all the Xhosa women wearing what we call 𝐷𝐫𝐸𝐽𝐻. So it's something for us that we take pride in. We love our 𝐷𝐫𝐸𝐽𝐻 because it signifies our culture, our heritage. As Xhosa people, it connects us to our ancestors as well. And as much as now some people wear it as a fashion statement, and they wear it to be whichever way they want to, but there's one thing: it will be beaded, it will be colorful, and 𝐷𝐫𝐸𝐽𝐻 is not complete without a doek, especially for people that are married. I'm a married woman, so whenever I wear 𝐷𝐫𝐸𝐽𝐻, I must make sure that I've got my doek on as well.
Yeah. I also am not aware from what age a girl can start or is expected to start wearing this attire. Is there a specific age?
No, there's no specific age. It's just a doek that you wear, you don't expect small girls to wear a doek, but it can wear 𝐷𝐫𝐸𝐽𝐻. Like my 10-year-old girl, last year when we had umgidi for my firstborn son, she was wearing 𝐷𝐫𝐸𝐽𝐻.
Must be a proud moment when you get your first one.
Yes, it is. I did.
So this was also pretty much part of your own upbringing that you got introduced to all of that. And thank you for the description. Must imagine myself wearing something like that, but I think I'll get a bit uncomfortable. Is it all staying in one place? But where you come from, this is what you were breathing in. This was your culture. And from the several conversations I have had with Nomkhitha, I know she is actually very analytical about her culture. She's definitely very sharp about what she likes about the traditions, but also about aspects that do not gel with today's life anymore and that actually cause a lot of stress. But this interview is going to be focusing on your career. And I would like to take it from the beginning. Knowing you come from a small place in the East Cape, which you must specify, and then went to study to Rhodes University in Grahamstown, environmental science. We'll talk about that as well. But it's quite a leap from where you come from to go there to that university.
Yeah.
And it was also at that time in South Africa, just the opening years that non-white students could enter at those universities. So I think plenty of challenges must have waited for you there. And maybe you want to talk about what those challenges were.
Okay. So I went to study at the University of the Western Cape.
University of the Western Cape. I'm sorry I got that wrong.
In Cape Town. in Cape Town. So, yeah, it was a bit of a challenge. It was a challenge where I started. One of the main challenges there was the language that we were using to converse, which is English, So that was a bit of a challenge for me because where I come from, I was raised in East London, in one of the biggest townships called Mdantsane. So the schools that I went to, I mean, from your primary school to your high school, were the schools that were in the township. So you'd find that the language that we're using to communicate was Xhosa. 90% of the time, here and there, then the teachers, when they explain a certain thing, they would explain in English, but primarily the language that we used was Xhosa. So now, when I then went to university at the University of the Western Cape, then I had to then start conversing in English. So that was a bit of a challenge. Also, technology, because now you're a university student, you have to do research, so you are showing, okay, here's a computer, you need to start using a computer. So just do it. Yes. So it was my first time at university at the age, I think, of 18, 19, during my first year when I started having to use a computer. So I was intimidated by that as well. But you know what I believe in is that with every challenge, there's always a solution. So even with the language barrier, what I did was I read more, I engaged more with other students that are not speaking Xhosa so that I can get used to, the language. And then in terms of the computer, the challenges with technology, there was a computer lab. So I went to the computer lab, to get classes. So quite quickly then, I adapted to the university lifestyle. And then the final challenge in terms of the key challenges was also finances. Because my parents were not coming from a rich background. My mother was working at that time at Aspen as a cleaner, and my father was working for the railway as a general worker. But within, my second year, my dad passed away, and my mom got retrenched. Oh, everything all together. So that was, the finances were a bit of a challenge. They were a big challenge. But my older sister came through for me. She was working, so she assisted where she could. And then I also, took some jobs at the university. I started working as a tutor, for first year students, because I was in second year. So I tutored then the first year students, which actually helped me in terms of, bringing in at least some cash that would help me, and also to build their confidence, in conversing in aviation, standing in front, in front of people.
Yeah. Well, you have been proactive. That's how I got to know you, hey? But yeah, that's indeed, you have to be very resilient. And yes, of many students who would have cracked up under the stress, and you didn't. So resilience, I think, is your second name. I guess that when you got your qualification in environmental science, which was a new science, but it began to be known that you may not have struggled so much to be employed specifically as an environmental practitioner. So if I remember correctly, the first 10 years in your career were employments. Yeah? Can you take us to that stretch of employment?
Okay, so I was very fortunate when I finished, when I graduated with my honors in environmental science. I actually wanted to pursue my master's. But then, we had an engagement with the family where we talked about the challenges in terms of finances within the family. Then we agreed that, okay, no, I must then look for internship, I must look for a job. And fortunately, I graduated in 2005, but by that December already, I had managed to get an internship. So I had an internship with an environmental consulting company. And then from there, I got another opportunity with Mercedes-Benz South Africa, where I also did 𝐗𝐡𝐨𝐬𝐚 in East London. So I did my internship, continued with the internship there as well. And then whilst I was busy with the internship, because we always have to always be looking on the lookout for opportunities. So whilst I was still busy with the internship, I didn't wait for me to complete the internship, but I continued looking then for, permanent positions. And I looked, and fortunately, I was appointed at Transnet here in PE as an environmental officer. So I worked then. Most of the time I've spent in my career in corporate at Transnet, where I've worked in the different ports, at the Port of East London, Port of PE, Port of Durban, and also lastly then my last job was at the Port of Nomkhitha, working there as an environmental manager.
Well, people who don't know our ports have no idea how big your sites were. Sorry, that was quite a bit of ground covering. To my mind, there are two aspects that stand out for the time you were starting there at Transnet, because I think in that work environment, the larger work environments, yes, it was a democratic South Africa, so especially in the workforce, many non-white people came in, but on the board level, when decisions are made, you still had, I think, the white men above you, and it must have been for you as one of the new mamas, got something to relate to them and how they related to you. So that is a bit the political aspect around your start. Well, let's maybe take that first, but I would like to talk about the environmental side a bit more later as well.
Okay.
But did you feel it was possible for you to be seen as a full-fledged professional person?
I think, yes, I was. As much as at that time there was not a lot of, especially young people. Yes, there was an introduction of a lot more professionals, black professionals, which I was working with. But one of the challenges is that I was the youngest,
Yeah.
So I sit in a boardroom. Yes, I'm the youngest, and it's mostly, yes, it was male dominated from both races, from both white and black. It was not, I think I was fortunate also that it was not too challenging for me because I think I was very motivated, very passionate about the work that I was doing. And when I had challenges, I would reach out to the people that I think can help, So yeah, I didn't experience a lot of challenges. Yes, here and there we would experience, but I think I managed quite well.
Yeah. I think there is another aspect to your determination, because, correct me if I am wrong, but when I began to hear about environmental sciences, I come from the humanities. I wasn't quite sure what was all included. I had this vague idea of must be very important from ecological viewpoint because we need it in the world and so on. But I guess many people were uninformed and that they expected you to have this magic wand to fix pretty much everything. So how was it to introduce yourself as an environmental specialist in this environment?
Yeah. I think just in terms of the mentorship that you mentioned earlier, I'm very grateful to the mentors that I have come across, during my journey. I specifically seeked out mentors, because as I had said earlier, that I knew that I had a big issue that I cannot fulfill on my own, and I really needed, that external assistance. And fortunately enough, the mentors that I reached out to, they really were keen in assisting me to fill the gaps with gaps, And then in terms of the environmental field, it's really it's a diverse field. It's quite complex because I mean it draws from many other fields, from geography, from biology, from engineering, ecology and so forth. So it merges all those in order to find solutions and to protect our environment. So working as an environmental specialist, where I started back in those years, it was a challenge because we find that most people were not highly, and most people were not aware. What is it? What are you talking about? Environmental science? What is that? Environmental management? We know. So yeah, it was a bit of a challenge, and I think one of the things that we did, I think if we keep this day, is deeply done is raising awareness. Is it awareness about take care? Is yeah, there are different specialties, and here cannot be the solution to anything. From the trees to the oil spills. Yes, yes. Because I have a harbors online for a oil spill. Long. Yes, 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 yes. Because there's a lot that is at the harbor. So you find that really there is a lot of environmental issues, water quality issues, step inching issues, waste management, biodiversity in terms of vegetation control and so forth. You'd find that in other areas, there are people that are specializing. Someone would specialize and be a botanist. Someone would specialize and be an 𝐸𝐸𝐾. An 𝐸𝐸𝐾 is an environmental assessment practitioner. They mostly deal with environmental impact assessments. You would have a 𝐗𝐻𝐢𝐧𝐚 and so forth. So there's many specialties within the environmental field. But when you work for a state-owned company, you are then maybe appointed as an environmental officer or as an environmental manager. You have to oversee that whole portfolio. Whatever challenge that is environmental, we have to make sure that you know about it and you can provide solutions. Whether it's water, it's air quality, it's vegetation, you have to make sure that you are capable of dealing with that. And where you need to then draw from specialists, you mainly draw from specialists. So it was a bit of a challenge, but I think it's one of those careers where one can never say that, oh, I'm bored. I've been doing good for so many years. It's the same thing over and over again. It's never the same thing over and over again. You learn every day. You will learn every day because it's something new. Whether even if you are a specialist, you say for example you are a EIA specialist, but there's various projects that you're going to be paying an EIA for. So it's never a replica. Yes, 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 yeah.